Moving on to our next topic, the executive director of the Minnesota Lottery says a second drunk driving charge against one of his top administrators is a personnel matter that's under review. Ed Van Pitten said Thursday the lottery's assistant director, Jonine Canfield, is still employed by the agency and that the matter has had no effect on lottery operations. Elsewhere, reporting on this has indicated that some legislators and officials have called the lottery's credibility into question on account of the drunk driving charges. Karl, here's your resolution. The credibility of lottery operations has been severely compromised by the conduct of its assistant director. Be taking the pro or con position on that?
No, I'll take the con position on that, Walter. I don't think that's one individual's drunk driving case would compromise the credibility of the entire institution. I think the entire institution is capable of doing that on its own. I think the mere fact that we have a state-funded, organized, run gambling network should lose all credibility to that network itself. It may surprise you, but all people make mistakes, even mid-level government bureaucrats. I think especially mid-level government bureaucrats make mistakes. I know Neil is shocked. So I don't think it's the actions of the individual that should affect the whole group and how we look at that group, but it does cause us to look at why do we have a state lottery? Why do we have a state-mandated vehicle to prey on the poor? You want to talk about protecting, the vulnerable or protecting the poor or helping them get out of poverty, then let's get rid of the state lottery, because that's one of the biggest waste of money for anybody, much less those that have very little. And studies have shown that those that have very little to spend the most money on pie-in-the-sky dreams like the state lottery. Of course, I think we've all played the lottery at some point. But when you don't have a lot of money to spend and you're trying to decide between the essentials, and you spend that on a Powerball ticket or on a state lottery, I think that's a misuse of government power, of resources, and sends the wrong message to those that need help the most.
What do you think, Neil? Is the credibility of lottery operations severely compromised by this assistant director's drunk driving charge?
So I'll say con, and I'll approach it a little different angle than Karl did. Of course, I totally agree with Karl that the government should be in the business of running a gambling operation. But it's a straw man, because frankly the people I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to guess that the people who are up in arms about these drunk driving convictions, and if they're saying it's calling credibility to the entire organization, these are the same people who have a problem with the organization to begin with. And yeah, like Karl, what Karl said was that it doesn't, that's a moot point. Just really from a personnel perspective, no, I don't think that's the case. And let's be honest, if drunk driving and overindulgence in alcohol is a ground for disqualifying, then you could probably look at a large portion of the Minnesota legislature and everybody qualify them too.
Current and former, right, Neil?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, the reason I picked this story is, I saw the television reporting on it, and as is so often the case with television reporting, it was just replete with alarmism, right? Like, this gal, she's the assistant director of the lottery, and she was drunk and driving, therefore you can no longer trust your 1 in 162 million odds of winning a jackpot. The absurdity of that statement really knows no bounds. But yeah, I agree with you guys as well. This isn't something government ought to be doing. And if you think that the reason you haven't won the lottery is because it lacks credibility as an institution, then you might have slightly more complicated problems than winning the lottery is going to solve.
If she wasn't drunk, she would have pulled my numbers, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
I could have been the winner.
Well, yeah, because the assistant director is the one who's actually turning the wheel, right?
Maybe she is. I don't know. I have no idea.
Right. You can take that argument to its absurd conclusion. I saw Paul Molitor once have an adult beverage, therefore he's unfit to manage the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the RLC Minnesota YouTube channel And if you'd like to join the fight for individual rights, limited government, and free markets, become a member of the RLC at rlcminnesota.org.